What's going on? My name's Shah. I hope you're having a good day. I'm having a fantastic day. So today we are doing a mini spotlight on Extreme Reactors by ZeroNoRyouki. This is a port, or a fork as it's called, of erroneous beef's Big Reactors from 1.7. So yeah, this is reactors that make power, either RF or Tesla at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that you know how to use JEI, or you're using some other mod to show you the crafting recipes for each of the actual... We don't want to type there. No, we just want to do this. Oh goodness, let's do that. There we go. So you know how to use JEI to look up, how to craft something. So if we did @extreme, you just click it and it shows you how the actual crafting recipes for each one, right? So I'm going to assume you know how to do all of that. This mod does add yellowite to the world gen. It also adds a few in other dimensions, but they are not currently in use, but I would collect those resources if I were you for future, because he is going to make a multi-tiered reactor. So this is just the base. It's called legendary. So this is the tier 1. All the things that say legendary, it just means it's a tier 1 reactor part. So the first thing that you want to make are reactor casings. They are going to be the bulk of your reactors. That's these guys right here. There's one. So the smallest reactor we can make is a 3x3. So 3x3x3 to make it actually correct. So let's go ahead and make our little 3x3x3 here. This is the basic shape of it. And now inside of the reactor, we want to have reactor fuel rods. These right here, reactor fuel rods. They go right in the center, right there. On top of the reactor fuel rods, you want reactor control rods right there. Now somewhere on the reactor, and it can't be on a corner like this. It can't be on a corner like up at the top. It has to be somewhere inside of the block itself. You want to have a reactor controller. So there's our reactor controller. Now we need some way to get our yellorium into the fuel rods. So that's where the access port right here comes in. And there's two different variations of access port. One is to insert, which is the yellow, and blue is to extract. They're actually the exact same block, except for you can click this button to make this one an extract, or this one to have an insert. You can have two of them on your reactor, so we can make one insert and one extract. And then you're going to want a way to get your power out, which is the power tap. There's two different types of power taps. This one here is a redstone flux power tap. There's also the Tesla power tap, which is this one right here. I have not used Tesla. I have only used the RF. So I can only really speak from experience on the RF, but Tesla, I'm sure, is pretty much the exact same, I would imagine. You click on your actual controller once the multi-block is formed, and it brings up this GUI right here. Down here, you have want to automatically eject the waste product that is generated by burning the yellorium ingots, and it's going to cyanite ingots is what it creates as its waste, and that is what it ejects out. That's the waste. So when you put your yellorite in this spot right here, and you actually need 4 per rod, so let's grab a few more. We'll just grab a stack and throw them in here for the moment. When you throw your yellorite, or your yellorium, ingots into the actual input, it's going to draw 4 of them in per reactor rod. And it's going to show you right here that your reactor is full. It's 100% full. And you're ready to go. All you got to do is click the little arrow down here to start it. And now you are generating power. Now, at the core, which is the fuel rods, it's generating heat. This is the core heat, 877 degrees Celsius at the moment. The casing heat, which is the actual outside of your reactor, is this one right here. And as you can see, this one looks kind of like the actual casing block itself. So the heat's generated here, and it's pushed off, it's pulled off through convection, I think is how you would say it, into the casing itself. So because it's right next to the casing, it's actually kind of sharing it a little bit. So it's only a small difference. Just this one fuel rod is generating 263 RF a tick. And down here, this is actually the burn up, the fuel burn up rate. It's telling us how quickly it's going to burn up those yellowite ingots into, am I saying it right? Yellorium ingots into the cyanide. Okay, that's what it's doing right here. That's what this is telling you. So over time, it will start generating, and this bar will actually start to fill up in the bottom. It'll start turning like a blue color. And once enough of one of the ingots is burned up, it'll spit out one of the cyanide ingots right here. Now, let's go ahead and build another one right next to it. We'll make this one a little bigger. Let's make this one a 5x5. So there, and then this way. And we're going to do the exact same mechanics. You know, we're going to do it the same way. We'll make this one a little taller too. Actually, let's make it a 5x5. Now, any place you can put a reactor casing, except for the corners and the edges, the outer edges, you could also put reactor glass, which we'll use on this one. So we'll go ahead and get this wall up here, come across here. And now we're going to use reactor glass on this side, just so we can kind of see what's going on inside. And this one will be the reactor we do a couple more demonstrations on, and I can show you a little bit more about cooling your reactor. Because cooling your reactor is how you get your efficiency. How well the reactor itself is going to work is based on the cooling efficiency. If it's too hot at the core and it's not getting cooled off, it's not going to be very efficient. So let's go ahead and take our reactor rods, and we're going to put them right in the center, and we're going to put 3 in on top of the reactor rods. We're going to put our control rod, and this control rod's going to tell, you know, you can actually click on it. Like we can click on this one over here. And this is how far the rods are inserted into the core of the reactor. So right now, only half the rod is inserted in. So if we turned it on, or since it is on, you're going to see it's going to cool off, but it's also going to produce less RF. And it's also going to produce less waste, obviously. Now that may make the fuel reaction, you know, the actual percentage better, depending on, you know, how far you have your rods inserted. So let's go ahead and finish off the assembly here. Now we're just going to add the bare minimum to the front. So we need a controller. And it's Minecraft. It's raining. Who would have thought? So as you can see, we don't have anything else except the controller, and it's already formed. But we do need a way to put our yellorium in. So let's go ahead and we're going to use the access port. So we're going to put an access port here. And even though we can't get power out, you can see it's still assembled just for, you know, we'll throw in the redstone one just so it's there. All right. So now let's throw some of our ingots in. Let me grab some more ingots. Apparently, I have lost them. Put them there. Okay, let's drop a few in. Okay, we have enough in there. It's full. Oop, it's right here. So, yep, it's full. Let's turn it on. Now, as you can see, the core temperature went straight to the roof, past 2,000 degrees and still climbing. The outer casing heat is only at 187 degrees Celsius. That's because there's air blocks separating the walls from the fuel rods. So there's air in there. Air doesn't transfer heat very efficiently. And as we were saying with the efficiency, that's where you're going to get, you know, the most bang for your buck. That's where you're going to get the most power for the amount of yellorium that you're going to put in. So it's generating 536 RF a tick at 2,000, what is it, 2,065 degrees Celsius at the core. Not that great. So let's go ahead and break this. And we're going to break just the sides right here, and let us grab some diamond blocks. Now you can use liquids, and you can use you can experiment with different blocks and use like gold or probably iron. You can try some of the fantasy blocks if they're turned on your server. So let's go ahead and put some diamond blocks next to the fuel rod. So now diamond blocks are touching the fuel rod and the casing. So it's the diamond blocks are going to be what actually disperses the heat from the core out to the outer casing. I hope that makes complete sense. All right, so it's formed. So now we have, you know, instead of air, we're using diamond blocks, and diamond's one of the better things you can use. So let's turn it on. And as you can see, it didn't go straight to the roof. Now they're kind of climbing equally, right? They're really close, actually. When it caps off here, you would expect to see the actual core hotter than the casing, but in this case, it's not. 403 and 411, so it's very efficient about pulling the heat off and dissipating it onto the outer edge. Now we're producing 1.3 thousand RF. So we're producing 1,300 RF a tick at 402 degrees Celsius. It's producing 0.083 megabytes per tick of waste. So it's a lot more efficient at its burn usage. It's producing a lot more power now at a very low temperature. Very simple, very simple. So there's a couple other blocks now. I'll give you some numbers about how big you can make your reactor. You can make your reactor 32 blocks deep by 32 blocks long by 48 blocks tall. Yeah, it's a big reactor. It's an extreme reactor. All right, so now there's a couple other things we got here as well. We have RedNet ports. Well, let's just throw it out here on the side. And a computer port. Where is our computer port? I did get one out. I thought, oh yeah, they're down here. There's a computer port. We don't need the coolant port. That's for the turbines, which are not completely in game yet, so we won't cover them. We will cover them once they are actually implemented. I don't want to, show you something that's not ready yet. Okay, so here we have a reactor computer port, which you can actually use with like, I'm assuming you can use it with open computers and computercraft, but that might be inaccurate. It might just be for computercraft. You also have a RedNet port for using Redstone, which is the legacy. That good? Let me double check something here. Let me make sure that I'm not misleading you. Yeah, Redstone Flux, RedNet port. Yeah, so the RedNet port, now there's a Redstone. See? So this is for RedNet, which I don't know if is even in 110, so I don't know if you're going to be able to use the RedNet. The Redstone port, this is where you can, line. Let's go ahead and add one to the reactor just as a demonstration. So now we can click on it, and it'll give us some different settings here. So we can have, depending on what it's getting when it gets a redstone signal, it may do different things. It can, change the control rod insertion, while at whatever percent, and you can have it say, if you get a pulse, do this, or you can set it to say, if you get a redstone signal, go from this to this. So you can do some different things. We're not going to go into all of them right now. If I get some comments and people are interested, I can go into and explain all the different things that the redstone port can do. But you can also have it, while active, do this. So, if it's getting a redstone signal, you can say push power. If you get a redstone signal, add Yellorium or pull the waste. So there's different things you can do. I just want you to see and understand that there is a redstone block that can go in here that can take redstone signals and do multiple things for automating your reactor. Same thing with the RedNet port would be something similar, but with RedNet. The computer port, you can do all kinds of things with this. You can have it turn on, you can have it turn off. You can say if you're at 60%, do this. There's a lot of stuff, but that's way outside the scope of this mini spotlight. But that is the basics of how you make your big reactor right there. You can play around with different metals, different liquids. Try water, try slime if depending on what mods you have. Play with it. See what you can come up with. See if there's anything better than diamond. Let me know. Let me know down in the comments what you find. Okay, so I was going to show you what a 32 by 32 by 48 reactor could do, but it killed the world that I was on. I can't get back in without quite a bit of work, and it was just silly anyway. It caused so much lag being even near it, even looking at it. I went from 300 frames a second down to like 8. So it was a little obnoxious. So I would advise while you're playing with bigger extreme reactors for the moment, make them only as big as you need. I mean, just do something normal. only make them as big as you need for the moment. Don't try seeing how big you can make them, because you may end up breaking your world. It is a beta. They are in testing. It may even just be an alpha. I'm not even positive it's still even a beta yet. So the turbines aren't completed yet. So, be careful if you're playing with those. If you did like the mod spotlight and it did help you create your first Extreme Reactor, formerly a Big Reactor from erogenousbeef, please leave me a like. I would greatly appreciate it. I am a new YouTuber and I am trying to get to 100 subscribers so I can name my channel. I am currently at 38. So if you haven't done so and you would like to help me out, it would be greatly appreciated. I would love to get to 100. So if you could hit the subscribe button, that would be awesome. And check back regularly for a update on other mods that are coming out for 110. There's a lot of new content coming out, and I'm going to try to cover as many of them as I can to help new players out, or even veteran players with things that are changing in mods coming from 1.7 to 1.10 now. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourself, and remember, be kind to the other humans. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.